Hi, Paul.
Hi, Corrine.
It's really nice to see you here. Thanks for doing this. I'd just like to introduce you, Paul Bedson, from the Gawler Centre in Australia, mindfulness teacher with a huge background in this area, and someone I've spent some time with this year doing training programs at the Gawler Centre. So, Paul, from a Mindful Leaders Conference perspective, we're just really interested in hearing a little bit about you and your key message, what you plan on doing when you're in New Zealand, and how you got into this area. So can I hand it over to you?
Yes, well, thanks, Corrine. I'm looking forward to coming there and participating in the conference. And what I'm going to talk about in the conference is about the application of mindfulness meditation as a resource for actually changing our brains, changing our biochemistry, and changing our behaviour. And the model that I present is one of changing from being over-involved in what we call the red zone or protective mode, which is a way of expressing the stress response, and how to be able to move across and access more of the green zone, which is about the relaxation response. And I'll explain how these responses, these biochemical responses and psychological responses are triggered, and how they can become not only a source of identity, but also a lifestyle for many people. They get attached to and identified with the red zone, and it becomes self-perpetuating. So I'll be looking at how mindfulness meditation in particular is a wonderful resource. I call it a circuit breaker, to be able to enable people to step back and to step out of the red zone and to step into the green zone. It's in the green zone that we grow and we heal, and we allow ourselves to be nurtured by our relationships and by contact with nature. And even part of the green zone is that it's the resource that we need to be able to nourish ourselves. If our lifestyle is too much caught up in the red zone, in busyness and stimulation and excessive thinking, then we don't really nourish ourselves. It's not sustainable. We need time where we can fall back and step across into the green zone. So I'll talk about these things, the biochemical impact of the red zone. I'll talk about neuroplasticity and how it is possible to change our mental and emotional and behavioural habits, and how we can access more of the green zone.
Great. Wonderful. I'm really looking forward to it. I mean, I've heard you speak, and I know how much you know about this area and how wonderful your workshops are. So, yeah, really excited about you presenting, and also understanding that so many of us are in the red zone so often.
Yes, we've created a society that's predominantly living in the red zone. Our values, our priorities, and our lifestyle, we overuse the red zone. And it has strengths. We get a lot done when we're in the red zone. So in terms of achievement and acquisition, the red zone is the place to go. And it's not that it's negative, it's just that people have got out of balance and over-identified with red zone mindsets and then red zone behaviours. So in order to create a balanced and a sustainable life, we need to give ourselves more access to the green zone. Even neuroscientists will tell us that we've got a negativity bias in our brain and in our nervous system, and that keeps us focusing on problems and goals, keeps us busy. So we really have to consciously create a way of moving out of that mindset and falling back into a more nourishing, sustainable mode, which comes out of more green zone time.
Yeah. Like the antidote, if you like.
It's the antidote. And mindfulness meditation is a very skillful way of accessing the green zone.
Certainly is. Okay, thanks, Paul. And just a little bit about your background, because my introduction didn't really do you a great service there. Please tell us a bit about your background and what you're looking forward to doing when you come to New Zealand.
Okay. A thumbnail sketch of my background. I did a Bachelor of Arts degree when I was in my late teens and into the early 20s, and I majored in philosophy and drama. And that was probably the beginning of my interest in asking and looking into some of the deeper questions of life. And that very quickly led me into Eastern philosophy and Eastern practices. I travelled and I spent actually 9 years in India, living in different ashrams and experiencing different teachers and different styles of meditation. For many years, it was my abiding passion to learn more about myself through meditation. And then coming back into the West and creating a career, I studied traditional Chinese medicine. I practiced Chinese medicine for about 15 years. And then I started to diversify from there. I went back to university, studied psychotherapy and counselling. And I've had an abiding interest in meditation my whole life, and I've been teaching meditation for about 30 years now. And as you know, I teach people how to teach meditation. And that's become a real passion for me, to spread the seeds of mindfulness meditation and to help and encourage people to teach, to pass those seeds on. So I've been very fortunate in my life. I have never really been too pressured by career. I had a lot of time in my early years where I could explore philosophy and spirituality, and that, I believe, set me up for a more balanced way of entering back into the so-called real world and incorporating those practices back into the Western world. So now I work at the Gawler Cancer Foundation. I've been here for 16 years, and here I facilitate programs for people dealing with cancer. Of course, my co-facilitator is my wife, who I met here, and we work together in the cancer programs, the MS programs, and all of the wellness programs and meditation retreats that we run here. And mindfulness meditation is really the platform or the foundation that all of these healing and well-being programs rest upon.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Paul. I'm very privileged to have you as my teacher. I have really loved the education with you and Maya. It's been wonderful. So just a last question before we go. Have you been to Wellington before?
I've never been to Wellington.
Oh, you're going to love it. That's wonderful.
I trust I will really love it. And I've been to some other beautiful places in New Zealand, and everything I've seen in New Zealand, including the New Zealanders, I've really loved and felt close to. And I travel quite a bit with my work, and it's great to come into new communities and to make connections and actually see the commonality between us all. See how meaningful these wisdom teachings are for everyone. So it's good to travel and to meet new people, make new connections with people particularly with an interest in something like mindfulness meditation.
Yeah, great. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to close the recording there. Thanks, Paul.
Okay, Corinne. Nice speaking with you.
I will.